Awesome. Awesome. Don asked or mentioned about the graphics. I love pop art, the old comic strip pop art, the Superman comic books. So you may have noticed I kind of have found a honey hole for some really great pop art graphics. So you know, if I'm going to have a style, that's the style I'm going to be using. It's something like that. So you'll see that in a lot of our sales content and a lot of our just fun stuff that we're doing is I'm going to give it a style. And that's what we're going to talk about today is how do you use a template structure to create a style all your own? And, you know, it's taken a lot of time over years, reading a lot of design books and watching a lot of videos, but I hope I've got a style that you can kind of recognize sometimes. And I hope today that we go over that a little bit. Now, what prompted this call is I'm training my VA on how to make custom logos for these DFY sites. And what I assume, and what Wayne may assume too, is what we do is kind of second nature in doing marketing graphics. We don't think about spacing or padding or what colors to use or what the background's going to be. But I had to train somebody this week or last week on all these things that I just took for granted everybody else knew. So today I'm going to go over some of these things we talked about when I was training her. And I want to make sure that I'm not taking for granted that y'all know everything, although you probably know a lot more about graphics than I do. But how do you make good logos? Wayne, you joining us?
I am indeed.
All right. So Wayne, welcome to the call. And so without going any further, I'm going to say one thing before I get started. When I design a logo, I think of several places it might be used besides the website. I'm looking at a favicon. I'm looking at, of course, the website, the header, the footer, you know, anything. But what does it look on letterhead? What would it look like on a billboard? You know, especially if you're going 60 or 70 miles down the highway, can you see that logo, identify with it within a 2 to 3 second gap? And most of the time it's a 1 second gap. When you're doing billboard design. I used to do billboard design a long time ago when I had a brick and mortar business, and I had a lot of billboards in place for I had a Rent-A-Wreck franchise. So I was designing billboards back 35 years ago. So the study is can somebody look at a billboard and within 2 seconds recognize the brand and the offer? And worst case scenario is just the brand. I guess that's best case. It's brand impressions. But if it takes a long time to read a billboard, they're already past it looking at another billboard. You've lost your message, you've wasted money. So I think of logo designs in the same way that I used to think of billboard designs. Can they quickly see it, read it, move on, and brand it in their mind? So that's what I try to do. That's a hard thing to train. So I want y'all to think about when you're designing these logos, can you get a logo in somebody's mind within a second or within 2 seconds and not have a lot of reading? And, you know, and I'll show you some examples here. Is Geek Out Fridays. I would not put this on a billboard because it would take 3 seconds to really read it and consume it. Market, because I've got a subheading in here. This one's easy to use, VidPenguin, and I got a number. This one might be a challenge. I mean, all these four I would put on a billboard. I probably wouldn't redesign much of it. I would take off Beta Team because I'm looking for a 1 second impression. Now, I don't know if anybody's ever taught you that, but that's what I'm kind of aiming for when I do my designs is a 1 second impression. Can you read it, understand it, and brand it? Okay. So with that said, let's go in and play around and see how we make these logo designs. Wayne, you're going to catch any questions and just stop me if it's a relevant point for what we're doing, and Otherwise, we'll hold the questions at the end and we'll go from there.
Yeah, we'll do.
Okay. I'm going to take Now, if you ever see me take a coffee break on camera, I've got one of these logos on a coffee mug that I'm drinking out of. And I'll tell you why. It's an extra opportunity to brand. It's like the billboard is if it's on a coffee mug, you're drinking from it, it puts two thoughts in somebody's mind. And I'll give you, for instance, here. I'm going to do something I hardly do on a webinar. I'm going to share my screen. So can everybody see me on the screen?
We can.
I should have a green background. Now I've got a couple cameras that I use, but I am going to go with the background. So I'm going to put a virtual background in here. And why I've got a wall painted green behind me? Well, I use a virtual background. And I have a little bit of motion in it, which gives it a really good effect. Let's see, let's pull up. This is the one I've been using lately. So if I'm on a call, especially a Zoom call, if you've been on any of my private calls, you're going to see some type of background. And, I can go from there all the way up to be on the Star Trek Enterprise. So with that said, then let's go back to a normal one here. And this is the other one I use. I'm in my beach scene. So I will come up a lot of times with of course, it's on a green screen, so my green logo doesn't fit. So sometimes I'm thinking in terms of coffee mugs and green screens. And actually the green works pretty well here. But I'm doing a brand impression. When I'm drinking out of a coffee mug, I have a logo on it. So even if I'm not on a logo with a current customer of Matcher Sites, they're going to go, well, what is Matcher Sites? When it raises that question, it gives us an opportunity to sell. And enough brand impressions, people are going to get very comfortable with that brand. Typically, the only reason I'm not using my RSS Matcher coffee cup is I probably need to clean it out. Okay, so enough said is we're designing a logo for more than just being a header or a favicon. And how quick can you do a brand recognition with it? So I'm going to go into my favorite tools today and talk about what it takes to make a good logo. So everybody's on board, it looks like. Okay, I'm going to turn my camera off. It's not about me, it's about the logo today. And let's figure out. Okay, and if you're just, looks like we got a few people just joined us. Welcome aboard. We're going to be talking about logos. So let's go and part one, logo design like an expert. Now, I'm not claiming to be an expert. I do sell logos. I think the most expensive logo design I did was, it was like $12.50 or yeah, it was $12.50, but I did a logo, a print ad and some other stuff with the logo, to give it some mock-ups. And we can even talk about mock-ups at the end, as I've got some favorite tools for that. But like I said, I want a 1-second brand impression. Can you read it? Is it legible? Is it too many words? Is it a logo that is different from anybody else? Does it pop out on a reverse background? So I picked these out. It's a black background and this pops. It almost looks 3D. And you can do some special effects with any of your photo editors to give it a little bit of a shadow or an emboss to pop it on a black screen. I think this looks great, freezing pink. I love the font style of this. Even with the VidPenguin 2, we branded a little bit here. And Wayne even has, we've got some thermoses. Occasionally we have a contest inside of VidPenguin to see who pings the most. Well, there's one guy, Scott Patton. I don't know if he's on the call, but he always wins. He's probably got several of these. So anyway, this is, you want to be conscientious of your background. Where is this logo going to go? And if you need to make do you need to make 2 logos? One for a black background, one for a white or a transparent background. And so the tools that you use to be efficient in logo design, they should have that option for you to invert colors, change colors around. Now, this one right here, this is an actual header of one of my masher sites. If you're going to do a subcategory or a subtitle, not that it's going to go on a billboard or a coffee mug, but originally this was underneath the colors. The colors have real good matching schemes. You can immediately tell this is something about cooking or dinner or food or recipe or something. And then this confirms it, great cooking tips. This subtitle is great for headers. It's not so great for your billboard, your coffee mug or anything like that. Maybe a coffee mug it's okay for, because you're going to look at the coffee mug for more than a second. But it really depends on usage, whether or not you want to use a subtitle, what type of font you're using, because this is a little bit harder on the Billboard test. Can you just blink your eye, look at it, and read it real quick? On a black background, you can, but any other color, it may be challenging. And I always try to let my color background show through on transparency on designs. Okay, so what we're going to use is a tool I love, is Place It. It is from Envato, and I'll go over here. Wayne, you missed my Where It Art demo here. Okay, so here's Place It. Guys, I want to say that I spend $29 a month, but between this and a few other tools I use, I'm on Place It at least 2 or 3 times a day, doing some type of graphic mock-up design, or even they do videos. They do some great intro videos. But what we're going to focus today is the logos, Logo Maker. Now, they do have a free version to kind of test things out, but you know, you get what you get with the free version. It's not a lot of choices. Now, today, I am going, if somebody has a domain name and put it in the chat, Wayne is going to pick out a domain for us, you know, something that's not 32 characters, but, you know, maybe 15 to 20 characters. If you've got a domain, pop it in the chat box. Wayne's going to select it and give it to me, and then we're going to make you a logo live. And it looks like Scott Patton just joined us. Scott, I told everybody you're always winning the freeze and ping contest on VidPenguin too.
Yeah, he raised his hand when he heard you say that.
Okay. Do I have a domain? Okay. If I don't have anybody with it,
I Love Fortunes, Walt.
Put that. Is that in the chat box?
Yeah.
There's some good ones coming across, guys. I taught a Geek Out Friday, and I want to say it was a while back, but I taught everybody how to go to Name Snagger and grab a name. So I went to Name Snagger today, and I'm just kind of looking through here, and I see best exercise tips, and I'm going, oh my gosh, that's a great one. And I go over, and it's already bought, of course. And then I come to find out there's somebody that just said bestexercisetips.com. Okay.
Yeah, they are. It's Larry.
Yeah. Congrats, Larry. Gift Tainer is.
Well, I kind of already mentioned Walt's ilovefortunes.com. I Love Fortunes, because that might work well with maybe a heart or something.
Okay, that's an interesting. So let's do that. Enter your company name. I Love Fortunes. Now, the cool thing with this domain is it can go many different ways. Do you love fortune cookies? Do you love being wealthy? Do you have a life in abundance, a fortunate? Are you just thankful for things? So I kind of like those domains that have a little bit of twist that you can play around with for naming. So they like to have things less than 20. Now you can do logos all and hit let's go, and it's going to try to generate hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. So instead, I'm just going to kind of, let's go down, and the ones I really like are in the gaming section. You can pick any of them that you want. Let's do gaming just to make some bold ones here. Gaming all, hit let's go. Now, what it's going to do is use that title and give you some template mock-ups to give you some ideas. Now, these are for gamers and stuff, but they have such good, bold prints that you can do things with. So this is, I love fortunes. You can kind of see where I pulled some of mine. As you scroll down, it's generating new ones all the time. So this is kind of where I start looking. Do I see something that pops out? And I don't see any on the first page. So I'll go to the second page and kind of look around. And if something just doesn't really, if I don't see it in that category, so I may have a different idea going on. I'm looking for maybe a fortune cookie or wealth or happiness or
try a finance niche.
Yeah. So I'm going to go into finance. And then it's going to reload and look for finance logos. Okay, so these are more of the header style, the more landscape that you can use. And sometimes they take a little while. Some of these I don't understand where they came from, but okay. So you can kind of get the idea. Now, this one looks great on a black background, the font and everything, but if I change it to a white background, I would have to change the colors, and then we're getting close colors to close to white. So I wouldn't use those pastel colors on a white background. I'm wanting more bold. Okay. This one kind of pops out here. What do you think about this, Wayne? Something like that? Or this looks nice here.
That green and black one next to it.
This one?
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Okay.
Apparently, Walt says it's about personal finance training.
Okay. Then it's not about fortune cookies.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what I really like about it is, what did you just say it's about?
Personal finance training.
Okay. That looks pretty good. Now, here's what I'm looking for. Padding, spacing, it's on a square image, and you can change logo sets in here. So if I don't like that logo, but I want to use these color schemes, I can kind of just change them around a little bit. I like this because of what I can do with it. And let's see. Okay. That looks pretty cool too. So ask Walt which logo he liked best.
I think it must have heard you. The last one.
Okay. That looks pretty good. Now, if I'm making a coffee mug, this is probably what I want to use for a coffee mug. But I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to center it, and you see the center bars come up? Okay. So you can center these, or just make sure everything's centered. The purple is your center bar. So everything is centered real nicely. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And again, the lettering is kind of wide. So I don't know if this would pass my Billboard test. And so a quick Billboard test is close your eyes, open them for 1 second, and close them. Do you see the image? Do you see the wording? Can you read it? And that's your Billboard test. Now that's from a long time ago, guys. So this one may work with the subtitle in it. So here's what I'm going to do. It looks great with this color. And what does it look like with a white background? So yeah, this looks okay. What's it look like with a black background? Well, now I'm going to have to change some colors here. So let's look at it again. White background, cool. It had like a tan background with it. So this is it's pretty good. I do like the black, the bold colors and everything. This green with that font is kind of a skinny font, hard to read. So maybe I'm going to pull a different font style. That looks pretty good. It's bold. It's let's see. So guys, you're seeing the actual process I go through. I look at different things. I resize them. I make sure they're centered. I've got a good looking logo right here, and it looks good on this tan color. So now I'm picturing what kind of t-shirts would it look good on? Would it look good on a tan t-shirt? Would it look good on a white t-shirt? Would it look good on letterhead with a white background? Yep. So that looks pretty decent. So if I'm advising for a client, I would probably choose this one. And by trying different logo styles out like we did here, you can get a really good idea. Like this one is what attracted our attention, but there were better ones in there. I don't think we need that one, but I love this logo. I think it's interesting enough that you can make a favicon with it. You can do a lot of good stuff. Now, when you're ready, you can either save it as draft or download it. When you download it, it just saves it automatically. And it's going to give you two versions. It's going to give you a transparent background, which you can use as on white or whatever color you want to use. And then it gives you the actual print here. And both of them are in high-res PNGs. And I want to say these are like 2,000 by 2,000. I mean, they're big prints. So you can use these immediately on a coffee mug or a letterhead or anything that you want. They'll fit just perfect. So that's the one with the colored background. And this one is the one with the transparent background, which will show on your graphic editors with white. Okay. Now I want to do a couple other things while I'm in here. Before we go out of that, I'm going to change the main color to white. Change the font color to white. See where I'm going with this? I'm going to change the background. Ooh, I like that. That looks pretty decent on a black. So I'm looking, does it look good on a black coffee mug, or does it look good on a black t-shirt? Would it look good as maybe a footer down below? So that looks pretty decent. Again, I'm going to download it. Okay. now I've got a black background. And I got a transparent background, which you can kind of just see the outline. The outline doesn't show when you actually go to print or put it on a coffee mug. They do that just for visual purposes. Okay. So I've got a good logo right here. In fact, Walt now has a very good logo. Okay, so let's do something different. I've got it in a logo format. Now I want to design for a header, and a header on our master sites on WordPress, you want to minimize vertical space and maximize horizontal space. So I'm going to flip this around. I'm going to put it on a white background and go back to what we had. Main color, black. Title, black. Okay, how do you design it for a header logo? We want to maximize horizontal space. So the beauty about this, you click on it and drag it. Now I want to center this. I'm going to get it as close as I can right here to the edge. Centered. Take this, kind of move this around. Yeah, I may have to resize this a little bit. Try to get the tail right there. Now, what you can do is I want to use this kind of as my border. This is going to be the top of the header, the bottom of the header. So I'm going to try to fit the text within that range, and I may have to resize this a little bit. And I want to maybe left justify, see if I can kind of get these close. It looks okay. Let's come up here and see if I can make it work with the. Now, here's what I'm going to do here. See if I can do this. And if you remember, I have another category I can use. Oops. And move this kind of out of the way. I'm going to come over here, play around with this. I love fortunes. Okay, and I could probably run with this here. But do I need this subtitle? So it's kind of getting busy. Now, go back to your 1 second rule on billboard testing is this is going to not be probably readable on a 1 second rule. But for a header, this might look pretty good. Now, I would probably make all of these boxes the same size so that all the lettering. So I'm just going to kind of play with it a little bit, move this over, and this one comes in just a little bit, and I'm going to try to get it. We'll push this up. Remember, I'm trying to use the header, top and bottom of the logo. And you can center these if you wanted to center them. See that center bar just popped up. Let's see. I'm close enough. I didn't want that. Okay, I think I'm back to 0 there. I wish they gave you a way to.
The S on the end.
What's that?
You've lost the S on the end. Fortunes, wasn't it?
Oh, okay. I love fortunes. Okay, there we go. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Now, in training somebody about logos, is your domain called I love, or is it called fortunes? Or is it I love fortunes? Now the colors, they look really good here, but there may be some confusion when they look at the header, especially a fast blink. Is this about I love, or is it about I love fortunes? Or is it fortunes personal finance? What's the name of your domain name? So that's the confusion you may have by changing color schemes. So let's see if we keep this black. Now, a fast read of that may put these together. I love fortunes. And I still don't think that's...
It's not level, is it?
No.
That's got it.
Yeah, I think that's close. So your color scheming helps the readability of it when you do that. And if I change this one to green, let's see here. In fact, I don't even have that green color up. I think it's one darker. Yeah, I love fortunes. Makes it maybe a little bit harder to read. Yep. Brian says visual hierarchy. That's the word I was looking for. Is you want to make sure that when people read this, they put the names together. So this, I would probably go with this. We're bringing in the color of green and black with it. So if I could even flip these around if I wanted to make the bull green, and so let's. I like that. That's good enough. So again, I'm going to hit download. Now, if I'm working with a client, this is exactly what I'm showing them right here. Now, if you're part of the DFY, you're going to go, well, they always give me two logos to look at. In my work of designing logos and doing graphic design over the years, I have figured out that working with clients, it is so much easier to give them two choices, A or B, because they'll select one and maybe give you a little color change or something, versus what I do with Wayne is I will send 12 logos to Wayne and say, pick one. And I know what Wayne does. I do the same thing. Wayne turns it over to his wife and says, which one do you like best? And then they kind of vote on it and get back to me. Well, the same thing happens to everybody. When you give them too many choices, now it's choice overload. So working with the client, give them two, at the most, give them three choices. So do the very best job you can on the first one, do another really good job on the second one, and print them or download them, send them to your client, ask him which one he likes best. Okay? Any questions? Yeah, if you're sitting here and going, okay, I bought a DFY package and they're only sending me two logos. Well, there's a reason for that, guys. And you know what, before we send the logos out, the VA's running them by me. Well, for the most part they are, and they're learning and they're getting better. But what I'm showing you today is exactly how I do every single logo I ever work with over the last, I guess the last 3 years I've been doing Place It. There were other ones before Place It that I used that I would start with the logo and do fonts and all that. But this one is so easy. I mean, if you're not using this, I don't know why you're not using it. I guess you could go out to Fiverr. When I would go out to Fiverr and have one done, I'm a perfectionist. It would come back to me. I'm going to send them edits. It'd come back. We edit. For spending $10 on a logo, it would take me a week to get a logo right. Well, guys, I could, within 20 minutes, we got a really nice logo that I would be proud of to put anywhere. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and download it, download the PNG and transparent version. Okay. Guys, that's a good looking logo. I like it. Now, again, I want to make it good for a black background. So I'm going to come in here, change my colors. Wayne, any questions at this point?
There was one. Is there a tool for selecting complementary color schemes?
Yes, there is a really good tool, and it's the Adobe Color Selector. And guys, I actually use that a lot too. So we'll look at it in just a second here. Ooh, that looks really good too. Scott asked a good question. Scott, you're getting ahead of the ball game here. He said, after download, do you use Photoshop to make the dimensions for master headers? Well, let me show you what I do. Okay, that's perfect. So I'm going to go back here. That was part one, logo design like an expert. Okay. Part two, how to make perfect headers in Favicons every time with some simple sizing and filtering using Canva. Now, guys, if you're training a VA, you're training somebody that is not Photoshop. Yeah, Brian put it in here. This is absolutely, it's color.adobe.com/create. Guys, if you're not good on colors, or if you're like me, you're colorblind, start with this one. But place it. Believe it or not, their logos, when you start with them, they are all color matched. That's why I am colorblind. In fact, I couldn't get my commercial pilot's license because I couldn't pass the color blindness test. But you may not even notice that whenever you're looking at any of my logos that I'm colorblind. So I use Adobe and I use Placeit. Thanks, Brian. That's perfect. Exactly what we needed. Okay, so why do I use Canva versus using Photoshop? Well, guys, Photoshop is a learning curve. And some of the VAs I've hired in the past don't understand Photoshop, never seen it. So I have something really simple for them. I tell them, go into my Canva, and I have perfectly sized every single logo that you'll ever make with me. So let's go into header logos. I created a custom size called 225 by 60. This is what fits into our masher sites. In fact, if you're on the call, Walt, you may recognize some of your logos. So we're working, I think this is Brian Blanks. We're doing some, in fact, guys, which one do you like better, A or B? A is the red dog, B is the dog with the butterfly.
They're both good, aren't they?
Yep.
If it's a comedic site, maybe A.
My VA did this. I looked at it and go, wow. Now that is great. And she did a little bit of a curve, which came in off of Placeit. So she's using Placeit on all the, actually, she didn't even use Placeit. She created the character or the text inside with, inside Canva. So I use Canva, and what I do is I come in and I will just add a page. Add a page. Now, you can put a guide on here that will auto size your images. We've talked about this in the past, they're grids. And it will auto size anything that you load in. So we're gonna take a look at that. So uploads. I am gonna come over here, my download folder. downloads. And now I can pull over the actual logo. And let's see. Okay. Now this is going to be the header going across a masher site. Okay. So it's going to be kind of hard to read. If this is 60 character or 60 pixels high, that's more like 4 pixels tall. So that's going to be kind of a little difficult to read. Now, it looks absolutely wonderful on this, but when you put it on a masher site and it's a landscape, you're going to go, I can't read this without glasses or a magnifying glass. So that's why we don't use a square aspect. This is a square aspect logo set. Everybody got it so far? Okay. I'll use this for other things. So I'm just going to delete it. It's in my uploads and we'll use it for some other stuff. Okay. But we did a really good logo and I'm pulling the transparent background with it. And this is going to look great. Now it's square aspect ratio as far as the image, the framing on the image. So I am going to resize it with Canva and pull it down just a little bit further. Okay, let's go ahead and just crop that image. I don't need it that big anyway. So I'm just going to use the cropping tool in Canva and pull that up. There we go. Hit done. Okay, that's a little bit more manageable. Now, I'm going to resize it, kind of make it take up the full width or the full height, not the full width. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, I'm going to center it. That looks great right there. So I'm going to name it Fortunes. Now, I'm going to save it. Hit download, transparent background, and I'm going to do just this page. So I'm going to unselect all of them, come down here, page 13, hit done, and download. And turn off all the messages. And let's open this one up. Okay, that's going to look great. Now you're not going to see the edge. They do this for the graphics, but see how small that personal finance training is, and this is actual size here. So I'm kind of thinking I don't really necessarily need that, I guess, in there. So that, it's up to you whether you want to use that or not. If I don't want to use that, then I would come back over here to place it and change my colors back, background white, main color, black, and black.
Or probably while you're in Canva, you could just rub it out.
That would be a nice effect, wouldn't it? But I want to move down I love Fortunes. So if you're in an editor, like Photoshop, or I use Snagit to edit, I would just move things around and save it. But I'm teaching VAs how to use this. I'm teaching y'all how to do it. Is that way, at least you have a high res picture to work with. So if I turn that one off, turn that. Yeah. Now I'm going to move this down. Move that. I can make this a little bit bigger. Make this one a little bit bigger. Okay. Now, if I put them together, Let's see. I guess it's that color there. 469F5B. So there we go. So what I'm going to do is, I'd still want a continuity of message. You know, is this going to work for me? So I'm going to download it. And pull the PNG off of it, the transparent. So I'm going to skip the white. I'm just going to download this one to start with. You can tell it's transparent. It's, you know, it's not, doesn't have your background there. Okay, so let's go back into Canva, into my headers. And I'm going to download. Pull this over. And I'm going to get rid of the grid because I don't want it auto-sizing. So again, I can go ahead and let's go ahead and crop it to begin with. Okay, that looks pretty good. Oops, I cropped the E out, didn't I? And this is simple. This is a really simple design, but it has impact. It's powerful. I like it. I like it. You could keep them both black, but from a design perspective too, is you're minimizing the green color. So here you're leveling out the color scheme. I hope that makes sense. I'm looking at it from a what type of color. Now, somebody asked a really good question is, can you put a background shadow in here? Absolutely. You can do anything that you want with it. Again, I'm using Canva for certain reasons. Is I want the sizing done correctly, and I want it to be able a quick way for them to size it and to kind of filter things out. Okay, so without having to know Photoshop and the eraser button and all that, I think that looks pretty decent. So I'm going to call this I Love Fortunes. Hit download, PNG, transparent, unselect everything, come down, I Love Fortunes 2. Get rid of the advertising. Okay, that's going to make a pretty decent cover right there, header cover. What do you think, guys? That looks good. Okay. Now that's 225 by 60. That's perfect for masher sites, perfect for websites. But you can make this any size you want with Canva. You know, if you've got a 300 by one, or like a 350 by 125, that's a common size inside of WordPress to do header logos. Just make you a template, and then that way you can put all your logos and download them individually. Okay, so that's the header. How do you make favicons? Well, again, I'm going to come back over here to home, go to my favicons. I made a custom size 50 by 50. Now, I think in Masher, we recommend 35 by 35. I'm going to use 50 by 50 because I'm going to use it for other things. Also, another good size would be 100 by 100, but 50 by 50 can scale pretty decent both ways. So anyway, if I'm going to have to pick one size. This is the size I'm going to select. Okay, you see how this is, they all look great inside of Canva because it's full size. Let me get rid of all these. But what if it was at 100%? Okay. What if it was at 75%? Because that's actually, it's going to be about 50%. That's what your Favicon is going to look like. It's going to be closer to maybe 25%. Let's put it.
If you look on your tabs, you can see the P for places. You can see the Zoom logo on the Zoom tab.
Yeah, these are your Favicons up here. So I'm trying to get it about the size of a Favicon, which is probably about, yeah, about there. So you can kind of really see what your Favicon is going to look like. Can you even tell what this is? No, I wouldn't use that. This is okay. The red, you got one character. It kind of looks really cute. That's a good one to use right there. This one, you can't even tell what it is. This is okay. This is a good one here. It does, you can see the little image of the guy. I love these. These are really great transparent background Favicons. That's a good size to use. It looks like a coffee cup that's smiling, maybe has a beard or mustache and some steam. This one, you could use it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go back to 300% so I can see it. Y'all can see it. And I'm going to bring, I've got my uploads already. I'm going to add the page. And now remember, I'm training a VA on how to do this. So I know y'all know how to just crop that off, but let's just go over here. I showed you already how to do a crop, but let's just go ahead and do a crop with it. Come down. That looks pretty decent. Hit done. Resize to fit in there. Too big. Just right. Okay. What do you think of that?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, let's take it down to 50% and look at that. It's still enough that you can maybe quickly tell it's a bull and a stock chart or something like that. Guys, I really like that. I think that's a great little Favicon to use. Okay, so what we've done, just to kind of recap, is we've chosen a logo, got a really good logo, and then we made it into the design of a header, and then we made it into the design of a Favicon. Now, I would just go in here, let's put it back at 300%. And give it a name. Then download. PNG, transparent background. It's a 50 by 50. Unselect all. I love fortunes. Done. Download. Boom. I'm done. So this is what I do for clients. This is, you know, like I said, I've been paid some pretty decent money. I was on Upwork doing logos a long time ago. And typically to do a set like this is I was charging $250 to do a logo, header, Favicon, and reverse images. But I didn't ever show anybody the tricks I'm using. Today, y'all got to see my tricks. Hope everybody has enjoyed the call so far. So let's go back to the slide. Any questions, Wayne, at this point?
There was only one. Do you have a link for Place It? So I dropped it in the chat.
Okay, perfect. Okay, now let's make some money with it. Guys, you saw early on, somebody asked a really good question. Well, what can I get some coffee cups? Can I get some t-shirts? Absolutely. I don't want to slow you down from spending money. As long as it's, you know, spent for good purposes here. So how do you make something like this? Well, I'm going to show you another tool I use. And I'm going to load it while I'm loading everything else. Smart mockups. Now, smart mockups used to be a desktop version, and now they've made it a SaaS-based product. And all the images are on both sides. So you can do some really good mockups with this. Place It. They also have mockups. The thing with Place It though, and they just added this. So let's go over to mugs. Make a coffee mug here. Okay. I am going to make a world famous coffee mug. Let's go with maybe this one. Now, Place It's done something that, I mean, you would think they should have done it at the very beginning, but they didn't. So upload or import from downloads. This makes it real easy, guys, to pull your logo over. I love Personal Fortunes. So let's pull it over just like this. Resize it. And crop. Ooh, I like that. That may be Walt, this is a great giveaway right here. So let's see, it's starting to get to where it's a little bit more on the curvature. I'm going to go back and just resize it just a little bit smaller. I'm going to pull it up just a little bit. Hit crop. Okay, that looks pretty decent. So if I wanted to change the mug color, let's say that I'm in Printify or any of the drop shipping stores I use, and they have maybe a tan version. Maybe they have a yellow version. So I've got that. That looks pretty decent. So what I would do is save this. And so whenever I'm designing my coffee mug, I can just simply give them, here's my mockup. And when we're using GrooveCart with, I think it's Printify, one of the sources we're using is they create mockups for you, but they're not this good. They're kind of just the product itself. And so we looked at mockups there. Let's go in and do something really fun here with the mockup. Let's go over to videos. I think it's this one.
Scott asked a question that I'm sure he's going to be disappointed with the answer, but on mockups, can we give that URL to our customers to order and pay for? Can we get a commission? Well, mockups is just the place that you can see what the image looks like. It's not actually a shopping cart.
Yeah, it's not a shopping cart, if that's the question. But you would load this into your shopping cart, your fulfillment, whether it's a fulfillment service or your product service, your shopping cart service. So I'm going to do a mug, but I'm going to do, there are some, I can't find them here. looking for videos, promo videos, t-shirt videos. Okay, we'll just do a t-shirt video. Okay, so Walt has a team working for him, and let's make it easier here. There's one there. And guys, there's other mock-up services you can use. I know Drop Mock is a good one, and you know, I like it for the simplicity. I like place it for the simplicity is it's already there. The graphic is already there. So I'm going to do that one. Make it a little bit bigger, size it up, crop. Okay, so you can tell I need to bring this up. It's a little bit too low for the image. Let's push it up about right here. Okay, you've got a really nice logo there, and you can change this music if you wanted to get it ready to download. They're going to do they'll do their video render, and it doesn't take long at all on Place It to do videos. So anyway, that is Place It, and we'll come back to that in just a second. So let's go over to Smart Mockup. Here is a great little mock-up where they're projecting it out, but you may have seen me use these lately. Screen mock-ups, book mock-ups, face mask. So you can do all types of design like that. They've got a lot of them in here. Let's go back here. Okay, that looks okay. I mean, you saw how easy it is. You just choose your mock-ups and go from there. You know, you can do hats, you can do bags. I've used this forever. Let's do. Okay. Let's do a hat right here. And I mean, you can see the hat color. Let's make it different. Let's make it black. And the image is we're going to have the reverse image. So I'm going to bring over the, let's see what it looks like. That looks pretty cool. Now I would probably take out that, the subtitle in there. I don't know if I have one that has that already removed. Let's see. Pulling from the wrong one. Yeah. Let's look at that one there. Actually, let's look at that one. I think that's the transparent version. There we go. Oh, I chose the wrong one, didn't I? It's not the logo. Upload design. So we got, let's try that, see what that looks like. Okay. You know, it's something you can just play around with it. Now, if this is a trick too, is if you're having this embroidered, which a lot of the hats they're stitched, you need to get rid of the subtitle. You would keep the the title and the logo, or I mean, you could completely, if you've already branded yourself, you could get rid of the title, but that's probably too big. I'm going to pull it down just a little bit. But I would definitely drop the subtitle for stitching purposes. It's too small to even read, but keep the title and the logo. And then you can hit download and you're ready to go. Any questions at this point? Because really what we've done is we've designed a logo, a really nice logo, which Walt, I'll give it to you at the end of the call. We've made a header out of it. We made a reverse image, and we've made a favicon, and we've made some mock-ups. And we've done this all within less than an hour. So any questions?
There's any new ones?
Yeah, Walt says he uses Gear Bubble. That's perfect. I mean, but you want to bring in your high resolution images. That's, after they've gone through Canva and been resized, you don't want to use those for your product image graphics. Use the original graphics. Great. Excellent. Yep. Now Canva, it's canva.com, and then place it. And again, when I showed y'all this, you can use your own editors, but I want to make this as simple as possible. Resize it, get your favicon resized, crop it, done, and you're ready to go on to other things. Okay. If there's no more questions, I'm going to end the call. I've enjoyed teaching you some of my secrets here, and hopefully y'all will be making some really great logos in the future. And I want to see them on your Masher sites, your WordPress sites, and dropping them into any of our Facebook groups. So guys, thank you for joining us, and we will see you on the next Geek Out call, which is going to be, it looks like, what, July, give it a date. It's probably going to be July 2nd. Yep, July 2nd, same time. And we'll see y'all then. Bye-bye.
Cheers, bye.